And I don't, the, for the last 3 months, about the last 3 months, I've been really dealing with really horrible back pain and hip pain. I've tried all kinds of things. Todd gave me one of these hydrogen pills that helped. It helped quite a bit for the first time in 3 months. But I've been through this constant cycle of, I think I'm getting better, everything's getting better, and then just horrible pain. And just like Martha and I at work, just I can't stand up without being in pain, couldn't sit down without being in pain, couldn't drive the car, get in and out of the car. So I was getting in and out of the car like an old man, and I was like, well, I turned 67. This seems kind of severe though. I mean, I had to back in like a dump truck and drop in there and then kind of pull it all in and lift legs up, and like with Charles when he would get in and out of his wheelchair when he was recovering, and I'm having to pull one leg in and then pull the other leg in. And I had a really good study time throughout the week and learning things that were really giving me peace at work, and starting to see what God's, and what's funny is I started the week looking ahead to what was what we were going to be studying this week. Last week went up, and so Sunday night I'll just kind of read through and study through the week. And I was really unexcited about this because I was like, there's nothing really in here. I've kind of heard this story and it kind of just comes and goes and it's not that meaningful. And I thought, oh man, I wonder if I should maybe just skip a little bit and get into something more interesting. And so I just stayed on it. And then Tuesday night we had some things where we started understanding the prophets and what the prophets, how important they are to study. And it starts coming around. And so when I've told people before, I hope nobody's uncomfortable, but I do my prayer time in the shower, and so they sometimes get really long. And I didn't even think about it till just now, but on Wednesday, after our Tuesday night study, and what I was thinking about from there is I got up, crack of dawn, and just got in the shower and said, I just need prayer time. Then Martha comes in an hour and 20 minutes later and says, yes, so that's one of the advantages of to being 105 outside in the summertime. I have basically unlimited hot water. So with it, that comes up, and you just start doing this long, involved prayer, and it's just the time just was gone. But God, in that process, He reveals things to you, and you start to understand Him better, and you're starting to put together the study, and then this, as I was preparing for this, it just started to hit me that this is so significant, the things that I haven't seen in this and the things that I haven't done. And it starts really setting on me, and then it's like, God, you can do anything with these hands. These hands that God has given us can do all kinds of things. And I was thinking about some of the robotics people we deal with as customers. And, what a big deal it was for NASA to develop a robotic hand. And that it was such a huge deal. And this was probably, 5, 6 years ago. And there was a big deal about this hand because the hand worked like our hand. Instead of having motors on each one of the little joints, they used wires to simulate our tendons and put all of the motors here in the fat part of the arm, which is how God designed it. You put our muscles down here, but they're attached to tendons that pull and extend the fingers, and there's one set that pull them closed and one set that extends them up. And so it was a big revolution. I think there were 27 planes of movement in the hand. I think that's correct. They had developed 6 of them. And they didn't have all the sensors, things that can sense heat and cold, and things that can go ahead and articulate in such a way that's not even conceivable at this stage, and how to control that. They don't even have the software to do it, meaning that the computing power isn't even close to what our brain can do just to make our hands move the way they do and sense the things they sense. When he started seeing that, and then seeing how the hands are used in this section, what Martha's going to come up and read here in 12, and was it the first quarter of 12? And you'll hear about their usage of their hands and all that. And there's some additional information. If we remember that this is a persuasive argument that Matthew's putting together. And he's trying to put this persuasive argument together for the Jews. And so this is a document meant for them for doing it. This is one of those places where this becomes very important. All of them are, and I keep bringing this up, but it is a way for you to start to get comfortable with the Bible and what each story, why there are 4 Gospels and why they are taught the way they are. When he's doing this, what he's starting to do is there's a lot that's assumed that the people knew. This is a big section of that. And when you start doing the study about what it is that the people knew and how powerful this is a major turning point here in the argument. And what he's doing is he's bringing in what the prophets said. Martha, when she reads it, will have a section on that's just a quote. Jesus is just quoting Hosea, one of the prophets. And the people would know that and know what that means. The people would also understand that God is being made free, is trying to free us from bondage. And we're going to use our hands for that, and he's going to use the hands to help to see that. While this was all going, and we'll hop in on this, it just dawned on me to pray for the healing of my back. Now, not that my back and hip, not that I haven't prayed for that, I have. But while I was sitting in the shower, I just started praying for it because it was hurting my ability to pray and hurting my ability to, that constant and sometimes really sharp pain just kind of stops everything. And so, and all of a sudden it was like, Mark, do you want this healed? And I'm like, yeah, I want this healed. Oh, I never thought to pray for it. And I'm sure I have. But I couldn't remember praying for it. And so I prayed for it, and my back pain just lifted. And then I told Martha when I went out, I said, I don't know, I think I've been healed. And I said, now Todd gave me some pills that helped a whole lot the other day, and that was nice temporary relief, but the dull ache is a little better from that. But I said, but the sharp pain, it just went away. And I said, but I don't know about my hip. I won't know, because I have a test. And I was telling it to Josh this morning when I got in. And I couldn't get in and out of the car without being like an old man. Like I said, I was backing in, I was easing down. I said, when I go to do that, to go to church, then I'll really know. And and I got in and just went in. I said, I guess I won't baby it. I'll just try it like a human being. And slipped one leg into the side and just slipped in and just picked this leg up without dragging it up and onto the step and then dragging it and dropping it into the car. And as that happened, I just hopped in, and when we got here, I just put the leg out and hopped out, and with no pain at all. And it's been months. So then Josh asked, he goes, what if God would you heal it for just today? And I said, I would be so thankful for that, even if it was just for the day, because it's a reminder of what I was studying in his word and praying to him about. It's a reminder of what can be if we just follow Jesus. And even if it's for a moment. And so Steve asked me how I was doing. I said, I'm doing really, really good. I'm having a, and then just hopped up the steps, where I'd look at those steps for the last few months and go, I don't want to say anything. I don't want people thinking I'm that old, and so I'm not, but I'd like the handrail. And I remember when Kenny got sick and he said, I really need a handrail. And I said, we can do that. We can make something like that. And that was just hop up and hop down. Like I said, it really threw me. So I had a hard time, I think, and then talking with Josh, I think it's some of those things you're supposed to tell people about, And I said, well, yeah, it does give me a stage every now and then, when I'm available here. And so I really hadn't planned on mentioning all that. But God is really good. When Kathy said that of what she's going through, and then as I came up here and we had a little longer greet time, it was very overwhelming to me as I was looking at all you guys talking to each other, sharing somebody's drinking coffee, somebody's eating a donut, people are talking to each other, and you realize this is the body of Christ. And this is what church is all about. It's to come and enjoy each other, but also experience each other in a totally different place at that moment in time. This moment will never be repeated. We'll never come together in exactly the same way. Next Sunday, some people may not be here. Some people may be here that aren't normally here. But right now, I don't think we have anybody new today. This is our core group. This is the body that comes together on a regular basis. And some of the body is hurting, and some of the body has been blessed. Well, I guess we've both been blessed. It's just that some of us are learning through suffering, and some of us are learning through prosperity. Yeah. Well, the whole thing is in flux, and the whole thing is dynamic, and the whole thing is changing. And that's part of what, so anyway, I wanted to share that with you. God does it for a reason, though. And we've learned that up to now, haven't we? That the healings that Jesus did here in Matthew, the healings that he's shown, were all about the people learning more his very nature. And who God is. This little section, Martha, would you come up and read this?
Okay, we're reading from Matthew 12. At that time, Jesus went through the grain fields on the Sabbath. His disciples were hungry and began to pick some heads of grain and eat them. When the Pharisees saw this, they said to him, "Look, your disciples are doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath." He answered, "Haven't you read what David did when his companions were hungry? He entered the house of God, and he and his companions ate the consecrated bread, which was not lawful for them to do, but only for the priests. Or haven't you read in the law that the priests on Sabbath duty in the temple desecrate the Sabbath and yet are innocent? I tell you that something greater than the temple is here. If you had known what these words mean, 'I desire mercy, not sacrifice,' you would not have condemned the innocent. For the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath." Going on from that place, he went into their synagogue, and a man with a shriveled hand was there. Looking for a reason to bring charges against Jesus, they asked him, "Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath?" He said to them, "If any of you has a sheep and it falls into a pit on the Sabbath, will you not take hold of it and lift it out? How much more valuable is a person than a sheep? Therefore it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath." Then he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." So he stretched it out, and it was completely restored, just as sound as the other. But the Pharisees went out and plotted how they might kill Jesus.
Thanks, kiddo. So we get that in the very opening of what Martha read, that at the time Jesus went through the grain fields on the Sabbath, his disciples were hungry and they began to eat some heads of grain, and he ate them. That doesn't seem like